Hello, everybody. I'm doing a video today that's going to be explaining the basics of building for crit or non-crit on characters. That way, it should give people that are having issues with their builds a basic idea of what to do. I've had a lot of people ask me this, and I figured I'm just going to make a video and try to explain it all. So first off, one of the main reasons you don't want to build a crit character, you want to build them for just, their particular damage is, well, let's take all this off first. Let's just make her completely nothing. All right, if you look here, we go to information, her crit rate's at 5%, which is basically nothing, which means 1 in every 20 hits, she's going to get a crit damage. And yes, you can add more crit through the arcade tuning, through her modules, maybe the gun like the Blue Beetle or something like that. But I've done it, and even with an ancestor model crit rate, you might be able to get to 40%, and that's being generous. So obviously, characters like Freyna, you don't really want to build her for crit unless you run around with the Luna all the time. That can buff it even more. All right, so that's an example of a character that you do not want to build crit with. Okay. Let's go for another character. How about Haley? All right. See, here's the thing with Haley. We'll take everything off here. Make her be completely cleared off. All right. If you look, her crit rate also says 5%. However, on her third ability, target confirmed, she boosts down here toward the where under Cold Fury, she boosts her own crit rate. Okay, she can still get to almost 100% crit rate by getting her own boost and putting your own mods on, like ancestor mods or the crit mods. All right, so even though it says 5%, right now it says 17%, but specifically with Haley,
welcome, descendant,
because like I said, she boosts. Spawn of Vulgus. We'll hit our third ability for our buff. Wait till it gets to 16. Leave it there. Now we look at our crit rate, and it's 100%, which means she's going to basically just about everything she throws out, it's going to be a crit hit because she boosted herself. Okay. If we turn this off, we take all that off. Crit's back down to 17%. Like I said, which means she boosts her own crit rate a little bit or dramatically. So she's an example of a character that starts at a 5% crit rate but can boost it all the way up to 100% fairly easily. Okay? So we'll head back to Albion. And if they start with a very low crit rate, you can boost it enough. All right? So, and as everyone knows, there's always an exception to every rule. Always an exception, no matter what. And that exception is Lepic. All right? So we'll take off all of his arcade tuning. Take off all of his mods. And now look at his crit rate. It says 15%, which means it's over 5, which means you're probably going to want to build him for crit. However, with all his mods and everything else, he only gets up to maybe a 40 to 50% crit rate, which is horrible. But since the introduction of ancestor mods, you can get to 75, 80% crit rate, which is very acceptable. See, look at that crit rate, 78%. But he doesn't boost it anywhere past that. He doesn't have a way to boost his own crit rate with most builds. So basically, this is what's going on with that. Characters that can't boost their own crit rate and start off at a 5% crit rate, you'd probably want to build for non-crit. If a character starts off with 5% crit rate but has an ability that boosts their own crit rate, then yeah, build it for crit. Like I said, Lepic is the exception. He's got a low crit rate base. Can't build his own crit rate, but he literally his entire damage output is based on crit. And now with the ancestor mods, you can get it high enough to where it's very, very, his crit rate is very, very reliable. So I appreciate everybody stopping by, and I hope this was informative. There's a lot of people that had asked me about it, so I hope that everyone can get some information off this and use it to make their own builds. Everyone have a good day.